Praveen, if I may ask, where do you source these single-use plastics and what are the challenges?
So the government today are opening up tenders, and it is on an increasing trend where they are moving out of collection. Today, 85% of the collection is done by, let's say, in Bangalore city from BBMPs, right? So the municipal corporations are typically collecting this material. So now they're opening up tenders, and there are more and more waste management companies who are taking up this thing. So it is becoming more and more private. What do they do with this material? They take it today and they take it to a dry waste collection center.
Yeah.
At a dry waste collection center, all this material is then segregated. From a dry waste collection center, there is a hope that you will segregate all the useful materials which has some sort of a recyclable value, which is what the
Yeah.
business of the person who's running the dry waste collection center is. But he ends up with a whole bunch of single use and MLP plastic, which
Yeah.
is an output of his segregation. He doesn't want this material, it's just a pain for him. He ends up putting it in sacks and then chucking it in the back of the dry waste collection center. Once it becomes an enormously large size which he can't manage, then he will call some vehicle. And if that is a good institution, let's say a good waste management company, it will then end up in a cement plant
Yeah.
where it will be
So,
burnt.
I mean, we assume because it's recycled plastic, it is almost free for you, but I don't think it is. So, is the cost a factor?
This is something that so we've broken down our execution into three phases. The first phase is there is already sheet makers in the country who have been set up by Tetra Pak and Cadbury and these kind of guys in their whole greenwashing exercises. They're not really functional and they're not really doing much, but they've set up these facilities, right? They've been around for the last 20 years. They're making pallets today and they're making, garden benches and stuff like that. It's not really become into something of high value. So our first attempt is to consume the existing capacity that is already installed to make them fully functional units where it becomes a popular business for them. So what we want to do is first consume these sheets and start making these panels. This is phase one. We are able to make about 200 homes out of this of 340 square feet, which is, let's say, typical Awas Yojana home today that is being constructed. We can make about 200 of them in a month with the installed capacity. This is our phase one of the operation. The phase two of this operation is where we set up recycling, we start expanding recycling facilities. They are basically, similar to plywood factories where you set up a hot press of 10 daylights and then you have a shredding machine and stuff like that. It's pretty simple, nothing very complicated. It costs about 3.5 crore to do that, and it consumes about between 7 to 12 tons of material per day.
Oh, nice.
And it will make and this is the second phase where we start establishing these sheet making units. The third phase is where we go into collection. So in the third phase of collection, we have made a simple change wherein 25,000 houses worth of waste today goes to a dry waste collection center. This is the first fundamental problem. One of the key things that we have identified, and I think it's common sense, but it's not spoken of enough, is the number one cost in waste management is logistics, right? And efficiency in logistics is not a subject that is really spent enough amount of time on, like the way the actual value needs to be given, right? So to just give you an example, when you throw away your dry waste today, 70% of your dry waste is single use and MLP plastic, but it is only 10% of the weight, but it is 70% of the volume. So it takes close to 250 to 300 packets on an average of a retail shelf. When you walk into Reliance Fresh and you were to see anything on the retail shelf, if you take 250 to 300 packets of that, it makes 1 kilogram of single use and MLP plastic.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why a rag picker doesn't pick it up, right? So today, what the need of the hour is that we have converted this methodology in our phase three. We have first we've taken home collection and we have now made them into small clusters where 3,000 homes worth of dry waste will go to one scrap shop, not to a dry waste collection center. We have mapped close to 800 scrap shops in Bangalore city In actual reality, we're estimating to be around 2,500 scrap shops. So for every 3,000 homes, which is exactly one Ape vehicle, that is 700 kgs of waste, will go to one scrap shop. In this scrap shop, he will segregate the material. At this point, we have a small 4 feet conveyor. Along with it,
So,
we have
Praveen, let's not go too deep into that part. I think we are more interested in the
sure,
larger story of
the
construction
material.
material and the
Sure.
home, and what is the cost of construction? How is it going to change housing going forward, and in a sustainable, eco-friendly way?
Surely.
We want to keep the interview in the sense the compressed for 15
Construction
minutes.
specific.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah. No, we'll edit it later. We can go ahead and speak more about.
So, so the material today is fundamentally sourced from waste management companies,
Yeah.
and that goes to our recyclers who make the sheet, from whom we procure this. We process it to be making into these panels,
Yeah, got
and
that.
that's the way this fundamentally functions. So our
Great.
objective is to share this technology with architects and contractors and
Yeah.
system integrators who will make these in multiple locations. So sheets will arrive to them. They will make a panel based on a work order or a drawing, and there is an installation institution who are contractors who we teach this simple technology of how this comes together, and then the installation happens. So there are three phases where we get the order and we process it. We have system integrators who make the end product and pack it into a box where the home comes in flat pack condition, and then it comes onto site, and there's an installation institution which take this and says panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and sort of like a Lego slash IKEA system, you install a home.